But of course, he's trying to leverage the Invictus Games, which the government has given money to, because after all, it's a very worthwhile cause for injured servicemen, with his own return with Meghan, who will use it to promote herself. What more will she do to get... And what more can Harry do, because he's down now to one charity. That's it now, once every 2 years.
I mean, yeah, I guess we are just kind of sitting around waiting for...
We're waiting for an explosion.
Yeah, exactly.
The other charitable stuff is not happening. Centre Barley, he's lost control of it. The Archwell Foundation has effectively been shuttered. All he's got is Invictus. And yet even that, based upon the journalism of yours that I've been reading, is slipping through his fingers.
It's a problem, but also let's not forget, Centabali is gone, but they're still suing him. So TikTok, when is that case coming up for defamation? And
the government seems ready to offer a free ride, footed entirely by taxpayers. But there's more beneath the surface here. Harry is clearly trying to capitalize on the Invictus Games, an event funded by public money that's widely recognized as a deeply meaningful cause. The Games celebrate the resilience and courage of injured servicemen and women, shining a light on their incredible strength and recovery. It's a cause that commands respect and support, no doubt. However, Harry's return, accompanied by Meghan, feels strategically choreographed, as if this heartfelt event is becoming a platform for someone else's personal brand. Meghan's involvement appears less about the cause itself and more about boosting her own profile on a global stage, subtly transforming a selfless celebration of healing into a potential spotlight for her own ambitions. But what comes next? What lengths will Meghan go to, and how much more can Harry stretch his influence before the curtain falls? At the moment, Harry is reduced to backing just one single charity, a commitment he can only manage every 2 years.
I went to Vancouver to the last Invictus Games, thinking this is a great organization, but what really happens? And it is vast. I mean, it's a very expensive. Vancouver hosted in a huge convention center. But I was actually appalled by the following. First of all, there were over 2,000 helpers, all dressed in yellow. The number of spectators was tiny. Secondly, there are 500 competitors, but about 1,500 members of their families. So all paid for by the governments.
Wow.
So free food, free accommodation. For those 500, it's terrific.
Right.
But what I really found...
This calls for answers, for something big to explain this unexpected shift. We're all on edge, waiting for a moment of clarity, a breakthrough, or maybe a major revelation. Meanwhile, the cameras have gone dark and the shadows have swallowed the scene, with no signs of public updates, as if every spotlight has been deliberately switched off and those involved quietly exit the stage. From the sidelines, something caught the attention of many viewers that just didn't sit right. Several players who were supposedly wheelchair-bound during the intense basketball tournament suddenly stood up and walked away from their chairs, seemingly without any struggle. Among the roughly 500 athletes participating, only a small fraction, about 4 to 5%, showed visible and serious physical injuries like amputations. The majority were listed as having minor or even invisible service-related conditions. Meanwhile, many of these athletes, who appeared fully capable and even able-bodied, were being meticulously coached and recruited to fill out team rosters, ensuring competitive gameplay. Now, here's where the story takes a twist that got people questioning what they were really seeing.
I suppose I'd say bogus is that in the wheelchair competition, which I watched, between America and Nigeria, the American team were professional coach team. And they all wheeled themselves onto the court, as did the Nigerians. None of the Americans had a physical disability. They all had all their limbs. They beat the Nigerians 24-0 because they were a professionally coached team. And then they wheeled themselves off.
Yeah.
into an adjoining area.
Picture this. Everyday citizens at home, moved deeply by stories of courage and sacrifice, were reaching into their pockets with heartfelt generosity, shedding tears of emotional support as they donated their hard-earned money to honor and aid these wounded veterans. Yet, on the court, some of these so-called disabled heroes were casually rising from their wheelchairs, stretching out their legs, and strolling to the locker room with the relaxed ease of someone who just finished a peaceful jog in the park. It left many wondering, is this really what supporting wounded veterans looks like? Are we witnessing genuine bravery and struggle, or something staged for show? The contrast between public perception and reality sparked serious conversations about authenticity and respect for the sacrifices these athletes and donors believed they were honoring. Let's be honest here, this isn't about denying the reality of hidden injuries or the invisible battles many veterans face. Those struggles are very real and deserve unwavering recognition. But here's where things get complicated. When the entire global campaign parades images of heroic, extreme physical sacrifice, showcasing grueling acts of bravery and pain, yet the actual event ends up being played out in front of nearly empty stadiums, where strong, able-bodied competitors seem more like filler than the real deal, it's hard not to feel like something is seriously off.
His personal brand and him and Meghan are impeding fundraising for Invictus. So he did come this summer. Part of the reason, one of the biggest reasons, was to help raise money for Invictus. As we all know, 29 million pounds was given by the government. He is supposed to match or exceed that. He, again, as we all know, 4 million has been raised, and that trip to England was not successful. He did not reel in a major sponsor like Boeing. He did not really get any more money than he already had. In fact, it was just a disaster on every level except for the personal level.
This isn't just a simple matter of perspective. It feels like an elaborate stage production designed to captivate, distract, and impress, rather than genuinely honor the true spirit of sacrifice. At the heart of this issue, though, it's important to clarify this mess isn't about disrespecting the veterans themselves. The countless men and women who have answered their country's calls, who have sacrificed so much, deserve nothing short of absolute respect, heartfelt gratitude, and top-tier care and support. They are the true heroes, and that truth should never be overshadowed. The real problem lies not with them, but with how this whole platform has been transformed under Harry and Meghan's influence. What originally started as a focused, sincere military initiative designed to spotlight veterans and their incredible resilience has slowly, almost imperceptibly, morphed into something entirely different, a media spectacle centered around Meghan Markle's involvement.
But he needs daddy to be there to raise money and to say the king will be there. So then people will open up some wallets.
I mean, Paula, we can't exaggerate this. In terms of branding, no Invictus, no Harry.
It's harsh. It's harsh. But the issue is Invictus needs oversight. Somebody needs to be able to look at people and say, this is where your money goes. This is why we need 60 million pounds for 500 people to play some games. Instead of saying,
To understand just how stark this shift has been, look back at how the Invictus Games were introduced to the world media during their 2010 Vancouver launch. The coverage was deeply invested in the veterans and the event's purpose, celebrating strength, recovery, and unity. Fast forward to Meghan's arrival years later, and the spotlight shifts dramatically. Media outlets became obsessed not with the athletes or their inspiring stories, but with Meghan's role, her style, her statements turning what should have been a soldier's day of recognition into a front-row seat for the Meghan Markle show. This isn't just a subtle change, it's a complete transformation of the narrative, drifting away from its original intent and making us question what is being prioritized and why. The spotlight wasn't shining on the brave service members who had endured so much, or on their powerful stories of resilience and healing. Instead, The headlines were utterly consumed by flashy pop concerts, with Katy Perry taking center stage, dazzling millions with her high-energy performance. But the narrative wasn't just about the music. The cameras shifted dramatically to Meghan, who appeared front and center, confidently strutting her stuff, capturing every moment with a dramatic kiss for Harry, in front of the lens, a staged moment dripping with glamour. Every inch of her was showcased in designer outfits that were eye-wateringly expensive, with price tags reaching tens of thousands of dollars.
You know, like the Department of Defense in the US does. We do it for 2 to 3 million every year. This is XYZ. Oh, and we also cover their insurance. So that if they're hurt, like Scott Snow was in Dusseldorf in 2003 at the Invictus Games, they are covered and we've got their back. Unfortunately, we don't know how really it operates. It is kind of vague. There are documents that are redacted and you're just going, what is going on? Why does it cost so much money?
Turning the whole event into more of a celebrity fashion parade than a heartfelt tribute. And then, something revealing happened. Right at the moment Meghan excused herself from the venue to rush back to California and handle an unexpected public relations emergency, the media's attention cratered instantly. Like a switch had been flipped, coverage vanished in the blink of an eye. As soon as the fashion show wrapped up, reporters hastily packed away their tripods, technicians powered down massive satellite trucks, and the cameras ceased rolling. The buzz, the excitement, it all evaporated. The games themselves, the real reasons for the event, suddenly seemed to vanish into thin air. The media stopped caring altogether. And that chilling silence is the clearest, most undeniable sign that what really drew the news cameras wasn't bravery, honor, or the game. It was the glitz, the glamour, and the headlines that followed the spotlight. Here's the reality you might not be hearing anywhere else. The current Invictus Games aren't really about honoring military service or sacrifice anymore. Instead, they've quietly morphed into a polished backdrop for a very specific kind of personal branding, centered on a couple whose star in Hollywood has dimmed to nearly nothing. What was once a platform for resilience and recovery has now become a stage for lifestyle content, carefully curated and broadcast to keep a fading public image alive. If you're watching this unfold and feeling like your understanding of the truth is deeper than what the mainstream media dares to share, it's time to take action. Smash that subscribe button right now, because every day, thousands of sharp, discerning Royal Watchers people just like you are joining this community. These are folks who aren't fooled by the veneer, who can see through the carefully constructed smoke and mirrors that traditional news outlets quietly avoid mentioning.
Which is a great crisis point for him, because it's in Birmingham, which is a Muslim-dominated city, and Invictus has got a team from the Israeli army. So that's going to be a problem
There
for
could
him.
be a clash there you're concerned
Well,
about.
of course, there'll be more than a clash. There'll be real trouble.
Well, it's starting to look, and you know as well as I do, that those veterans are total heroes. Heroes in their public service, risking their lives to stand up for Western freedoms. Heroes again in this amazing sporting endeavor. So we love the veterans. But Invictus itself now, it's just become quite a tainted brand. And I wonder whether Harry is the problem.
Obviously, Harry's the problem. Everyone said it. Everyone knows it except for Harry. It doesn't matter, though. But Harry doesn't get it. And more importantly, the board, who is packed with Harry's supporters and who get paid very well, don't or won't get it. I mean, there is public petitions out there saying, get Harry off the board. And it's got thousands and thousands of signatures. But again, it does not matter unless the board votes him out.
Trust me, if you haven't hit subscribe yet, you're already missing out on the unfolding reality that isn't on your usual TV screen. But here's where things get even more concerning. The financials behind the upcoming 2027 Invictus Games in Birmingham reveal a deeper, more unsettling crisis surrounding the prince. The numbers tell a story of mounting challenges and pressures that go far beyond the surface-level glamour of these events, pressures that could reshape the entire future of the Games. The royal family's involvement, and the genuine cause that launched this remarkable competition in the first place. The stakes are higher than ever, and the real story is just beginning to break wide open. Don't let yourself be the one left behind in the dark. Harry. The UK government made a bold move, stepping up to guarantee a jaw-dropping £29 million in public funds, promising to bankroll the event in full, backed by taxpayer support. The deal was crystal clear. This massive public investment was contingent on Harry and his team pulling their weight by securing an equal or even larger amount from corporate sponsors and influential donors. Expectations were sky high, and the pressure was immense. The clock has been relentlessly ticking as Harry's highly anticipated return to British soil draws nearer, but the reality behind the scenes is far from the hopeful image painted for the public. The fundraising campaign that was supposed to fuel the event has unraveled spectacularly. Instead of hitting those lofty financial targets, Harry's team has barely managed to gather a pitiful fraction of what was needed. Out of the multi-million-pound fundraising target essential to keep the event's budget balanced, only around £4 million has been raised, a figure that's not just below expectations, it's downright humiliating. Imagine the magnitude of such a shortfall. This summer's 2024 promotional tour to the UK, marketed as a high-profile bid to win over powerful corporate donors and secure the financial future of the event, has fallen dramatically short. What was supposed to be a showcase of influence and strong support ended up exposing deep cracks in the fundraising campaign, raising alarming questions about whether this venture can recover its footing in time. The much-anticipated summit turned into an undeniable fiasco, an event that, instead of inspiring confidence, sent shockwaves of doubt rippling throughout the corporate world. Major global sponsors, some of the biggest names you'd expect to see proudly aligned, like Boeing, discreetly pulled back at the last moment. Contracts and commitments they were once rumored to support suddenly vanished into thin air. Behind closed doors, corporate executives peered cautiously at the mounting controversies swirling around the Montecito project, their initial enthusiasm replaced by skepticism and hesitation. Imagine leaders of these multinational companies convening around polished boardroom tables, weighing the risks. For them, seeing a fundraising effort that outwardly promises much but shrouds itself in secrecy is a huge red flag. Public transparency, the cornerstone of trust for any charity, was alarmingly absent. Financial statements, when they existed, were so heavily censored and redacted that no one could fully grasp where or how the money was spent. And add to that an eye-popping budget that soared to an unfathomable £60 million for barely 500 participants, numbers that had even seasoned financial watchdogs raising eyebrows. Now, contrast this with well-established veteran support programs run by the US Department of Defense, where every cent is meticulously tracked. Every expense is laid out in detail, accountable, and publicly accessible. Every dollar is scrutinized, leaving no room for doubt or mismanagement. This stark difference paints a crystal-clear picture. Serious corporate investors fled from Montecito's shadowy financial labyrinth like moths from a flame. The question on everyone's mind: why would any reputable company throw their support behind a cause so desperately lacking in transparency and financial discipline? The answer became painfully obvious, and the consequences were about to ripple far beyond what anyone had anticipated. Imagine this. A major corporate sponsor drops a staggering $20 million to back an event. That's an enormous investment, right? But here's the kicker. Half of the news coverage ends up spinning a narrative not about the cause itself, but about Meghan Markle. Suddenly, headlines shift focus to her, scrutinizing how public money is being funneled into what many perceive as a glamorous lifestyle. Stories about luxury clothes she effortlessly wears, then monetizes online, flood social media and news feeds alike. It's a story that sticks in people's minds because it feels off, almost like a spectacle financed by everyday taxpayers. People aren't falling for smoke and mirrors. They're paying attention, asking the hard questions that make the whole situation uncomfortable. Now, donors who are looking closely at this setup aren't confused at all. They're asking one very straightforward, pointed question: Why are public funds being used to cover expenses that seem wildly extravagant for Harry and Meghan? Private jets crisscrossing the globe, lavish hotel suites fit for royalty, and a sprawling security detail, all covered by taxpayer money, while the very charity they support struggles to scrape together basic funds just to keep its doors open. Meanwhile, ordinary citizens across Britain are wrestling with soaring energy bills, tightening their budgets month by month. And yet, somehow, they're being asked to shoulder a £29 million bill to support the lifestyle of a former royal family member. The question is loud and clear. Where's the line between public service and private luxury? This tension fuels the debate, making it impossible for the public to look away or remain silent. Can a television host truly capture the spirit of heroes fighting for freedom? It's a tough question, especially when we look at the journey of Invictus Games, the event that was meant to honor and uplift veterans like no other. We all hold a special place in our hearts for the brave men and women who risk everything for our safety. Invictus was meant to be a shining tribute to their courage and resilience, a powerful celebration of their strength through sport. But lately, the whole brand feels overshadowed by controversy and uncertainty. The excitement and hope it once inspired now seem to be fading, and the big question many are asking is, could Prince Harry himself be the root of this unraveling? Let's be honest, there's a lot at stake here, because the Invictus community isn't just about games and medals, it's about hope, healing, and honoring heroes who have given so much. So as the story of this foundation's struggle unfolds, we owe it to these veterans to uncover every layer of the truth. When it all comes down to the basics, when you peel away the dramatic speeches, the sweeping soundtracks, and the polished highlight reels, the real issue starts to look unavoidable. How much longer can Prince Harry keep up the appearance that Invictus is flourishing when behind the scenes the whole operation seems to be deteriorating? You can't build a lasting legacy meant to support and uplift a community on shaky ground, especially when financial transparency is questioned, attendance at events drops, and concerns about personal ambitions get tangled in the mix. The thousands of veterans who poured their hearts into this cause deserve better. They deserve a foundation that truly reflects their sacrifices, not one that stumbles because of hidden challenges and conflicting priorities. The Invictus story has so much more to reveal, and it's not just about one man or one event. It's about the trust and honor owed to the heroes who inspire us all. Athletes who represent their countries with unwavering bravery deserve a stage that truly celebrates their incredible spirit and sacrifice, not just a hollow, empty stadium transformed into a flashy backdrop for a glitzy Hollywood-style showcase. This isn't just about optics, it's about respect, purpose, and honoring those who have given so much. Tom Bower has done more than just unveil a well-hidden internal decision. His courageous investigation has ignited the beginning of a profound reckoning, striking at the heart of Prince Harry's final major stronghold, his role as patron of the Invictus Games. The mounting panic and defensive reactions coming out of Montecito aren't really about concerns over security or media coverage. No, the real fear stems from the stark, unsettling truth that the world is finally seeing things as they are: no more smoke and mirrors, no more illusions. This revelation has sparked a tidal wave of questions about authenticity, leadership, and whether the time has come for Prince Harry to step aside and let this chapter close with dignity. Now, we want to hear from you. What's your take on Tom Bower's eye-opening disclosures about the Invictus Games? Do you believe Prince Harry should remain in his role, or is this the moment for a graceful exit? Your perspective is crucial to this conversation, so don't hesitate to share your thoughts down in the comments below. If you found this deep dive compelling, make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a royal reveal. Sharing this with friends who love a good story helps us keep growing this community and bringing you the most captivating updates from the world of royalty. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the very next passionate breakdown right here on Royal Report.